this message that is coming up, the message you're expected to see is code generated, security code generated. Now, a security code will be sent to your phone and also to your email address that you have supplied. Now, that sponsor code is very, very important. More important, and should be kept more secret than your passwords. I will explain myself. Your security code should be kept more secret than your password, because your security code gives you an access to change your password and your email address at any time. Because it is expected that on any account you are using at all, be it Yahoo, be it not, may just get this first class information now. Whatever account you are using that requires you to log in with a password, it is expected that you change your password at least every week. Wow. Okay. In 1 week, your password can be hacked and be used against you. So that 1 week is even too much. I'm just saying it 1 week for you because you might not have the time to do it every day. Here in our office, at least most of us will do it every 2 days. It is very important. So your security code should be kept more secret, because if I lay your hand on my security code and I have your password and I have your payer ID, do I still need your password? No, because I will change your password for you using your security code. Do you understand what I'm saying now? So your password should be kept more secret. Now, the reason why it is sent to your GSM phone is not for you to still keep it in your GSM phone. Just for you to have it, write it down somewhere. Please don't keep your sec code in your GSM phone. Anybody can pick it, and whosoever can interpret that text message will know what it means. So just write it out somewhere. You can always flash your mind back. All right? And if you can't find your sec code now, or you've forgotten your I can't remember your security code, all you need to just do is contact us in ABC. Is it that will give you the security code back, or will reset you to log in as a new user? So that is very, very important. Let's just take that information. Very, very important. Your security code should be kept more secret, and it allows you to change your password at any time. Now, we assume that we have logged in successfully. Now, I will want the next task I want to do to be done by someone who logs in regularly. So, do you log in regularly, like you said? You log in regularly. This can be encouraging. Let me come up here. Please continue to encourage him until he gets here. He's a very honorable man, very important here. It's something we should respect him because he's going to show us what we don't know. Now, what we want to do is, he's going to be logging in as two different persons now. First, he will log in as an individual. And secondly, he's going to log in as an agency. So right now, to log in as an individual, please put your payer ID, your password, your email address. That is all you need. Your payer ID, your password, and your email address. Now, that's all he needs to fill as an individual. Click on login, sir. Now, I want you to look at the screen. You can see the menu here as an individual. You've seen land use charge. You can view his land use charge records that he has ever paid. Post retailer, that's an update that is still coming on from, it allows payer to post their tax details online instead of going to the bank. Then the bank speaks it and they post. That's an update coming up. Then print remitter statements. That means he can print the history of every transaction he has been doing with Lagos State till inception. That's the remittance statement, which you also print from your own end. So you can print his own personal remittance statement. Now, view statistical details. That he can view his tax clearance details. His clearance details for the years that he has been paying his tax. Total tax paid, gross end, and all of that. You can view that once it clicks on that menu. So we don't need to view his details that are personal to him. Thank you. Now log out. So that's just what you do when you log in as an individual. You can see it's very simple and straightforward. In short, you don't need to come to me to tell me after I've paid my tax that I want to print my tax details. If I have my internet access at home, I can always print it at the comfort of my home. Even at the point you are paying at the bank, if you supply to the bank at the right email address and your right phone number, the details of your payment goes to your phone, and a copy of the receipt that will be printed to you will also be sent to your email. So even if you misplace your receipt, you can just go back to your email address and print the receipt. And if you can't do all of that, you can also come here to view and print out the tax details. Now, click on the link, sir. Click on this link to log out onto the page. Now, it's not going to log in now as an agency. I want us to see the difference with logging in as an individual and an agency. Please supply the criteria to log in, sir. Now, remember I said, for the fact that you're working at agency and you have your login details does not mean you can log in as an agency. You must be given an access, a privilege to do that. How you do that, if you want to get an access to that, because I know you all need it. So how you do that, I think you need to see my brother here. If you've never logged in and you want to log in as an agency, see my brother here, so he will explain to you or put you through on what to do. Now, to log in as an agency, we can see what he's doing. Under his select name, he has to go and change from the individual towards an agency. That means the system is not recognizing him as an individual anymore. The system is recognizing him as someone coming in through an agency. So anything he does on that site is being tracked against his profile. Now at this point in time, he logged in at this time to do all of this under the agency. So everybody logging in at any point is being monitored. Remember the website is called monitoring. Okay, so now there's what we call enter service code. The service code we are talking now is the payer ID of the agency, company, or organization you're working with. Because you must specify the payer ID of the company you're coming in through in. So that's what the agency code, that's what the service code means. So put in the service code, sir. Now, hold on. You can see this button, we've not touched this button. We only touch this and this. This is the button you click on when you are changing your password. And how do you change your password? After submitting your payer ID, you put in your password that you want to change. You put in your email address, the security code we talked about. You put it in the security code column, and you now click on I have forgotten my password or email address. That's just it. Simple as beautiful. 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 We can see the menu we see as an agency is much more than what we see as an individual, because these are virtually things you should be able to do as an agency. Sorry, sir, sit down, don't go. I'm still going to just meet you. Now, collection by agency. You can view collection by your agency. The next one says collection for agency by bank. That means you can view collection from all banks daily. This is what Bank A has collected on my behalf today. This is what Bank B has collected. See card details. You can also confirm a citizen card as a company card details, and also enter account transaction. You don't need that. ePay application download. That means if you want to install ePay on your machine, that the ePay application, you can download and install the ePay application. Now let me just go down to straight down to search and create payer ID. Now, it is expected that every customer that comes to the taxpayer now, of course they are our customer. So once they come to you for an assessment, you're expected to create a payer ID for them, because you have been given an access to create a payer ID. It even helps you more to do more of your monitoring. Do you agree with me? It helps you more to do more of your monitoring because you have record of people you have created payer ID for, and you'll be able to monitor them yearly. If it's company, you know it's monthly, so you'll be able to monitor them monthly, which is very good. So how do we search and create a payer ID for a customer? That's what we're doing now. You click on that link and you say display. I want you to do it. Now, it's not doing it. So, we have individual type of taxpayer and we have the corporate taxpayer. That means you can create a payer ID for both an individual and a corporate payer. Do I say we have somebody who does not have a payer ID here? You said you don't have. Please come on, we need your details. And it's good you have a payer ID now and you continue from there. Thank you very much. Please don't go far because it's your profile we are using now. Alright? It's 2000. You don't have a payer ID, you don't have a tax payer. Wow, that's serious. You can't be true. Anyway, we will know that from here. Do you know what? This is. Okay, you know what? It is beautiful. We will get to know from here. If she's already on a tax net, we will catch her. If she's not there, she justified that act. Alright, so she's an individual. So the first thing we're going to do is we do a search and create the payer ID. Now, please fill in your criteria here. Miss or Mrs. Right? That's the surname. B-U-S-A. Bisayo. Okay, Bisayo, right? Alright. Your full name, first name, middle name, and last name. What's the first name? Ayobola. Your middle name. Is it correct? Alright. Now the next thing we do is say search. Now we're going to be able to confirm now if she's a payer on the Lagos State platform, and if not, since 2000, that calls for questioning. Abel. You see? Does any other one matches your address there? Abola, Christina, so, she's the first one. So that means she has been paying before. She only does not have a card. Now, that is very simple. So in this situation, please can we get an attention here? In this case now, you don't need to create for that customer anymore. All you need to just do is give the customer his payer ID to go to the bank and pay with that ID. Are you with me? But in a situation whereby it does not have, and you have searched, thank you very much, now. Please, you can go back to your seats. Please write this down. Write it down. Write it down before I remove it. I'm going to remove it now. Can somebody help out to write it down so that I can close this? The ID is 161 632. I should close it. 161 632. Now, you scroll down after searching and you can't find it. You see below, if name not found, click here to create. When you click on this link, this is the form you get to see. We're not going to enter anything here. I'll just explain all this information to you. Now, you can see that the name has already been pulled here. So it's automatic, you don't need to write it. Since you have searched, the system has seen that you don't have this person. So it pulls the name here. So the other information you need to now enter are all this information here. You fill all this information in this column. After filling them, when you get to address, you need to search for address because we expect all address to already be on the database. So you search for the address. After searching, you insert it there. For employee, you skip that part of the employee if the person is just an individual. Do you understand me now? For an individual, you don't need that employee details. But if it's somebody who is working under a company, then that's when you need to do the employee. Do you understand that? Once all those information are filled, you click on create. Once you click on create, and the PID will come below the screen here. The PID will just come below the screen. And that's just a simple way for you to search and create the PID from your tax offices. So we expect you all to be able to do this, and which is more fast. Even from your home, at the comfort of your home, anywhere, you can do all of this. This takes us to the end of this section.
Now, my name is Okechukwu Okoro. There's a major reason why you have come, and that is for you to be able to generate manifests by yourself. For you to be able to generate manifests by yourself. That is central and that is critical. We don't want a situation where you'll be asking somebody from ABC to generate reports for you again. It is not right. What they will be giving you will not be up to date. You can do it yourself. He has exposed you to the main menus here. If you ask ABC to generate a report for you, the same thing he has shown you here is what they are going to do. And they are going to give you up to the dates where that is being done. I'll give you a scenario. If you request for a manifest on Monday, let's say give me October manifest. You request for that manifest this Monday, which was 11th. Then I do it on the 12th. That means I'll give you from October 1 to which date? November 11, because that's the date. I can't go beyond that date. Then I give you this manifest on Friday. What happens? That means you don't have Tuesday, you don't have Wednesday, you don't have Thursday, you don't have Friday. And that's not good enough for your own operations. So what do? You have to generate it yourself. And if you generate it yourself, you can download it and put it in soft copy and manipulate it the way you want to. That way is better for you. So how can we do that? Let us go back to the same menu. Is this hello? Is this admin privilege? Is it to do this? Is it admin privilege? No. Okay, so let's use you blocked out. Okay, come and give me this thing. Come and log in here again with admin privilege. It is the same menu we're talking about, but we're going to do it so that you can see it, admin privilege, so that you can see the main menu and generate one report and see what it is. Either you want to download or you want to view. That will take us a few minutes. This one. To check how much somebody has paid as payee, you use that menu to do that. This is collection for agency or revenue. That is for any particular agency, you might be collecting 1, 2, 3, 4 kinds of revenues. Am I right? You want to check everything that has accrued to that agency. Maybe we can use that as an example, or we can say, okay, collection for agency by banks. That is what has First Bank collected for us, what has Union Bank collected for us. You can use that if that is the kind of report or manifest you're looking for. The collection by agency by revenue type. Let's say it is Ministry of Finance. Can say, okay, how much have we collected via land use charge? You can also do that. Then he has talked about the other thing. So what I think we should, which one do you think we should do? Collection by bank. Okay. That means you just want one particular bank. One particular bank, right? Sterling Bank. Why the interest in Sterling Bank? Okay, so let us see. And remember that this is a live report. So look at it. It says select revenue. What are we selecting? What's payee, right? What? What do you want us to select? Do you select the revenue type? Direct assessment. Okay. I've not done anything on direct assessment. Okay. It says select bank name. Let's select the bank name. You said it's what? Sterling Bank. This one. So you select it. So you select your dates. From where? October 1st. October 1st was a public holiday. Okay, October 1st. But you make it brief because if you take a long time, if you take a long period of time, it might be so much data and it might scatter and might delay. So okay, November 1st. To what? To 15. And this is November, right? 2013. So simply say view. This one you can only view it. If it is, let's say you want to view for all revenue, you can download it. So you view this report. Now, the of what we are doing is that this is what Alpha Data will do for you. When we say, give me manifest, this is what they will do for you. Now, if you can do this yourself, do you need anybody giving it to you? No. Yes. That's what we are saying, and that's the major reason why we came here. And this is the report. This is the manifest that they give you. This is it. You can scroll it and see. Now, the headers are there. The headers are there. The transaction number, which is like serial number. The dates, entry dates, the date that the transaction was done. The deposit slip. The transaction reference. The branch name. The payer name. The revenue code. I'm sure they explained all of this to you. Revenue code. The agency code. The amount that was paid. Look at it. And so on and so forth. And you can go up and down. You can go up and down. You can go. You can go. You can go. You can go. Remember, this is a live report for that particular date. This, of course, you have not gone to the end. If you get to the end, you will see the summation of the whole thing. So this is one of the major reasons why we are asking you to come, and we want you to be doing this in your office. This way, it saves your time, so that if you say, give me manifest, you can view this and give it on your table. When you say, give me manifest, that means there are certain things you're looking for, isn't it? You can check them online, check them and say, okay, I have seen it. You exit it. Next time, you continue. Instead of having all the papers piled up and piled up and piled up. That's one of the reasons why we're here. He has talked about prayer education. If you want to say, okay, let me see how much revenue we have collected, you can do that. Because, okay, let me see the revenue type, the one that I'm monitoring. Today is Thursday. I'm abroad. I'm somewhere. I want to see how much my boss has collected. You can use that. Whatever thing you can do, you can do. And if there is anything you want us to add on that menu that is not there, you can also suggest. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Agbele will take us through automated revenue receipt, please. Mr. Lee.
Thank you so much. Once again, I want to welcome you to Alpha Beta Consulting LLP for this 5th edition of annual workshop on EBS RCM for MDS. And also, I want to appreciate your patience and attention since we have started. It's still morning anyway. We've been talking about, the EBS RCM as a platform or a suite of, smart application that is being used to drive the revenue generation of Lagos State, government. And all the while, my colleague have been emphasizing on website. And then it appears as if website is actually the basis of what we are talking about. But right now, I'll be taking you on automated revenue receipt, shortened as ARR. And I want to believe that all of us, we are familiar with it. Receipt is an evidence of payment. And if we are saying all we are saying, and we don't emphasize on the importance of receipt, then it might appear as if we are not actually talking about the main thing. Because if you have made your payment and you have done all the needful, and your receipt, one way or the other, is altered or malhandled or get into the hands of fraudster, it means that somebody else might be getting a service that is due to you. And that is why, the receipt is so important, and then we need to treat it as such. So what are the things that we have done to ensure that the receipt we have is genuine and is tenable for a service that we require from the state government? Like I said, all the while the speakers have been using websites, which of course I'm going to use also to make this section a worthwhile. If you look at the screen, you will see the same website that are being used all the while. And right on the website, we have the login and what have you, which have been talked about. But like I said, I want to emphasize on the AIR, and that is the evidence of payment. If you look at the right-hand side of the website, you will see validate your receipt. You will see validate your receipt. Now, when you talk about validating a receipt, it means you want to actually query that receipt. You want to test the genuinity of that receipt. You want to confirm that yes, what they have printed for me at the bank or wherever is genuine. And so by so doing, you want to validate it. That is one way. Another way is that yes, somebody is going to get a service from you as a representative of the government, that offers service to numerous taxpayers around, and then you need to confirm that the receipt that an individual is bringing to you for that service is genuine, and then you need to validate that receipt as well. Now, it means that as a taxpayer, even you yourself, you can validate the receipt. Then also, as somebody who is rendering service, who is representing the government, you can also validate the receipt. But then you do that in two different ways. Now, as you, a taxpayer, you can just click on validate receipt. And when you click on validate receipt, just like I'll do, then it takes you to another page where it's expecting you to enter the receipt number and then your telephone number. All of this we are still going to demonstrate, but I'm using this just as a point of explanation. Now, if you put the receipt number on the space there, and then you put your telephone number,